All right, happy Friday, everybody. Hope everybody is doing well. Mark Garagano, 21st Century Distributing. Welcome to today's Friday feature. Today we're going to be going over Just Add Power, their complete all their solutions, get into maybe some ways to add their products into various applications. This is a quick 30-minute overview. If you guys want more additional training, let one of your reps know. We could get you down to their facility, do a really impressive hands-on training if anybody's interested in that. Whatever we got to do to get you guys up to speed for your video distribution projects. I have Jared Edwards here with Global Solutions. He does a phenomenal job with training, not just with Just Add Power, but Sonance, Clearline. They got some lines that they help us with repping for us. So he can give you his contact information as well. He's going to be in various territories throughout the year to help with more hands-on training with not only Clearline, but maybe also Just Add Power. So if you have any questions, feel free to put them in the Q&A. We'll get those answered for you. Like I said, this is a 30-minute quick overview. We'll have this on our virtual conference center and on our Just Add Power vendor page as well. So, Jared, how you doing, buddy? Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, you bet. Thanks, Mark. Appreciate the intro. And yeah, welcome everybody. Happy to be with you this morning. And we're, like I said, it's just going to be kind of a brief overview today, kind of give you an idea, a little bit of a, dip the toe in the water of what Just Add Power is capable of doing. Obviously, it'll do a whole lot more than what we're going to talk about today, but kind of whet your appetite a little bit and see if there's a place where we can fit in with some of your projects. So I like to start off with this by a quote by a pretty famous guy. Some of you may recognize this quote, some of you may not, but you definitely know who this person is and what company he ran. And he had a famous quote of, "Don't try to do everything, just do one thing and do it really, really well." And if you don't know that quote, that's okay. It was by a guy named Steve Jobs. Maybe you've heard of him.
Yeah.
And that's kind of philosophy that we have at Just Add Power. We are very focused on doing video over IP. We don't do Balins. We don't do extenders. We don't do HDBaseT. We only do one thing, and we do it pretty darn well, and that's video over IP. And I say we do it pretty well because that's the only thing that we've done for, 34-ish years now, something like that. So, like I said, just kind of barely dipping our toe in the water with this technology. I'm kidding. No, we've been doing it for a long time, obviously. 34 years of just doing video over IP. So pretty cool stuff. So yeah, we know a few things about it, I guess you could say. And really what we try to do is separate ourselves from a lot of the competition. Because frankly, 30 years ago or 25 or even 20 years ago when we were doing this, there was virtually no competition. And now there's a lot of other brands that have a video over IP type product. But we do a few things that are very unique. And the way that we run on a network is different than just about every other company that's out there. And I'll explain what that is. But one of those things is the way that we switch on a network. It's very different, and I'll go over that in a few minutes. But what it does to your for your end user is it creates a situation where they have instant switching. And I'll explain what that means here again in a second. We also have super high reliability, partly because we are not using a standard off-the-shelf codec to compress and decompress and send the signal, the data down the network. So we use our own proprietary codec, which helps to have reliability. And when I say reliability, I mean there are systems that are out there that have been running every day, all day long for 12 to 15 years, and they just keep going. So reliability is very, very high. And then we're also one of the only video over IP companies that has a piece of software that sets everything up for you, including the network switch. So you don't have to be a network guru in order to set this up and get it going. So let's dive into some of these things, and I'll explain what I mean here. So ultimately, what we want to try and accomplish is a bit of a luxury experience. But to me, there's two sides of that luxury experience. One of them is the end user, and that's where the seamless switching and it just works every time, and it's very easy to control. So when they pick up that remote and hit that button, everything works, and it works every time, and it works instantly, and they don't have any questions of, hey, I pressed that button. Did it go through? Do I need to press the button again? What's going on? Is there something wrong? All of those questions go away because as soon as they hit the button on the remote to switch from one source to the other, it goes. But the other side of that luxury experience is you as the integrator. And we want to make it an easy deployment, an easy to design and install, easy to configure, reliable, and have support that backs you up. So, like I said, there's kind of two sides to this luxury experience thing, and we want to try and accomplish both of those. And we actually do a pretty darn good job of that. So, with that said, how do we work? Well, obviously, a network switch is required. And back in the day, it used to be that there was a very small number of switches that you could use, and it only worked with those, and there were some limitations there. That is not the case today. There are multiple brands that you can choose from. There's more than 75 switches that you can use from, and that list is constantly growing. So our philosophy is we want to play nice with as many switches in the sandbox as we can, and as long as those companies want to play ball too, we're more than happy to include them in our software and make it easy for you to set up. So if you are thinking that, hey, this is hard, and you only can use, used to be that you could only use Cisco and Luxol. That's not the case anymore. You can use whatever is your go-to switch from a managed switch standpoint. So lots of easy ways to go and set this up.
Real quick, Jared, I want to throw in there as well. If you go to our website, you go to the Just Add Power vendor page, you'll see that list right there for you. Click on it and it takes you to the website so you can see all the switches that are compatible.
And I'd imagine you can probably buy the switches that you guys carry right there too. Amazing how that works. What a great scenario.
Right. Netgear, Ruckus, Luxol, to name a few. Yep. That are on there.
Yep. All of it. Yep. You can get it all from 21st. So yeah. So again, very flexible, very easy to work with. We also make it easy to control. We have control drivers for pretty much every control system. There are a handful of names that aren't on here, but we do have drivers for them as well. And if any of you ever programmed anything, you know that the driver works pretty well. One of the questions that I get all the time is, do you have a controller in the system that is what the driver talks to? And the answer is no. We don't require a controller or a separate piece of equipment to be plugged into the network. We actually have a controller built into our devices, so there's not another piece required that could potentially be a point of failure. We just have you talk to one. Basically, we just route the commands to the switch, and the switch takes care of it. So even less equipment hardware-wise, and less stuff that you have to program in to get everything to work. So really, really quick and easy way to control it. But the bottom line is here, just about any control system, whatever is your control system of choice, you can get it to work. We also do various types of control over the Just Add Power network. And let me explain kind of why that is a big deal. Let's say you come across a job where you have not wired it, and there's only one category cable behind the display where you need to have that TV. And you were going to use a couple of wires in that to run your IR, for example, for controlling your TV on and off and changing inputs and all that stuff. Well, now you're going to take that CAT cable, because again, there's only one, and you're going to terminate that and plug it into the Just Add Power decoder that goes behind the TV. How do you then control your TV? Well, there's multiple ways to do it. We don't leave you stuck. Through our network, and obviously this is over the data network, you can send CEC, RS-232, IP, and IR commands to the decoder, and then come out of the decoder to the TV and still control your TV that way. So whether it's a residential or a commercial application, and you want to have like an all on and an all off command or something, we've got multiple ways that you can send those commands through our system to be able to control those TVs very quickly and easily. So lots of different ways to control things on top of the control system. I might say, by the way, also that if you're using something like IR to control your TVs, you do not have to use the I/O ports on your control system and wire directly all the way back to that I/O port for your IR command. You can just send it through our network and it comes out the decoder and directly to the TV. So more of a localized way to do it if you want to do it that way. Don't have to, but you can. So bottom line here is lots of ways to control things. Okay. So briefly, let's get into the solutions here that we offer. And this is really, really simple. This is not a difficult line. You basically make one decision as to which product it is you're interested in going with, and then you go down that pathway. So all of the solutions that we have all of these things included in them. They all do seamless switching. They all use 1 gigabit connections. And when we get to our MaxColor product, we'll talk about real briefly the difference between 1 gig and 10 gig and why we don't need 10 gig where everybody else does. But you get all of these things. There's scalers built into everything, EDID management. So unlike HDBaseT, you are not set at the lowest resolution denominator. If you have a bunch of 4K TVs and one old 720p TV, you can send 720 to that one and 4K to the rest without any problem whatsoever. They all do endpoint control like we just talked about. They all can go into video wall mode. There is no extra requirement or hardware needed to do that. And they all will pass lossless audio. So all of them will do all of these things just straight out of the box. The question that you need to ask yourself is, which one do I need? And which one is appropriate for this particular job? And the questions are, do I need 1080p? Do I need 4K? Or do I need 4K 60 with HDR and Dolby Vision and 444 color space and basically the Mac Daddy of all of all the video reproduction stuff? And once you've decided which one of these series, Omega, Ultra, or MaxColor, is appropriate for the job, then you can go down that pathway and use that series. But that's really as simple as that. There's a couple of accessories that we have, like an IR dongle and a rack mount kit, but that's really about it. That's the majority of the line. We also have these available in a rack mount version, so it's 3 or 4 transmitters in a 1U chassis, so you don't have to. You can save a whole bunch of rack space if you got a whole bunch. You've got a big rack and you've got all of your source components and a bunch of transmitters in there, and you want to save some space and consolidate some things. We also can do the same thing. It's the exact same product with the exact same features, just in a different form factor. So that's available to you as well. So on the Omega side, or the 1080p product, let's say you've decided that you only need a 1080p product for this particular application. 99% of the time, no matter whether you've chosen Omega, Ultra, or MaxColor, you're going to probably use the standard encoders and decoders, which is HDMI in and HDMI out. However, there are specialty pieces that are available in the line if you need other things for a specific location and specific application. Like if you need stereo audio out, for example, to run it to an amplifier, we have a product that does that as well. But if you don't need that, there's no reason for you to buy that extra product with the slightly extra cost associated with it if you're not going to use it. So why have that if you don't need it? So there's lots of different options there in that line as well. Same thing is true with the Ultra series. If you're going to do 4K, if you need 4K, yes, great solution. 99% of the time, you're going to use the standard encoder and decoder. But then if you do need more things, there are specialty products that will do specific things on top of everything else that the standard encoders and decoders will do. So lots of different options there for you as well. And then, of course, the same is true with MaxColor. When you choose MaxColor, you get all of these things that are on the screen right now. The 444 color space, HDR10 and 10 plus, Dolby Vision, 32-bit deep color. All of that comes with every one of the products. But if you're looking for something additional to the standard encoder and decoder, of course, we do have some things that are specialty items that you can use in specific applications. And again, let's say you need HDMI ARC in one area. Well, you only need to buy one HDMI ARC for that specific location. You don't have to buy the HDMI ARC product for everywhere else if you don't need it. So kind of a nice little way to separate things out and make it so that you're only paying for what it is you're going to be needing in each individual location. Okay, the last product I want to talk about is the Tyler, and I'm sure most of you are familiar with this. Some people call it a multi-viewer. Ours is very, very different. It is not 4 HDMIs in and 1 HDMI out for 4 different sources put onto one TV screen. Ours is actually part of the Just Add Power network, which means any source on the network can become a tiled image, and that tiled image can then be sent to any display in the network or multiple displays in the network at the same time. So it's a network-based Tyler instead of a just a simple HDMI in and out meant for one display. And of course, you can do, this is just a small sampling of the different types of layouts that you can do. You can actually create your own custom layout, save that as a preset, and recall it anytime that the end user wants to. So lots of different options with tiling. Again, I won't go down the rabbit hole with what all the Tyler can do, but just know that that is a product that we have as well. And again, it's very flexible and very unique because it is on the network and not just confined to one display output. Okay. Mark, are there any questions so far before we switch gears just a little bit and head towards the finish line here?
I mean, the one that I had was I think you covered most of this, the install time it takes versus a traditional matrix. Obviously, you said it's pretty plug and play, but I mean, is the time difference, I guess, is the question.
Yeah, that's a great question. Actually, it's a perfect lead into what I'm about to get into. So to kind of give you an idea, at CEDIA last year at our booth live, every hour on the hour, we took a system with a non-configured switch and non-configured encoders and decoders and did it live on the show floor in front of people, like I said, every hour. And it takes about 10 minutes because the software is really that good. And what's amazing is this AMP software that we've created is probably one of the most incredible pieces of software in the industry I've ever seen because of what it does for you and how easy it makes it for you to set up, because networking stuff can be complicated. And to kind of give you a real brief overview here, most AV over IP products use a system on the network called multicast, which requires you to go in and set up all these multicast settings inside the switch. While we can run on multicast, we don't prefer it. We prefer to run on VLANs, and we are the only company that runs on VLANs. Now, a lot of times when I say the word VLAN, to those of you who may be a little bit okay with networking, a lot of times people put the brakes on really hard and go, whoa, hold on a second. VLANs are hard. That's complicated networking stuff. I'm going to shy away from this. And that is exactly why we have created this piece of software, because it takes all of that off the table. And you literally just do a couple of clicks, tell it a few things, which we'll go through here, and it's set up for you. So let's go through what this does. So it actually goes in and changes the IP address on your laptop so it's prepared for setting up the Just Add Power network. You don't even have to go into your laptop and go into network settings anymore. It then discovers all the Just Add Power devices, configures them, will update them if needed, and then configures your network switch with all of the VLANs. And then when it's done, it changes the IP address on your laptop back to what it originally was, as if nothing had ever happened. And all you've done is click your way through the software. So let me show you how that works. And again, hopefully you're starting to get the idea of how powerful this piece of software is. So in this case, I'm going to go into the build and expand system, or click there, so we can build a brand new setup. The first thing it's going to do is ask you to name the project, and then it's going to verify that you are connected to the network with Ethernet. It does not set it up over Wi-Fi for a multiple of reasons. So you're hardwired directly from your laptop to the network. Okay, as soon as that check is done, you choose which brand of switch that you're going to use, whether it's Cisco, Netgear, Luxul, Ruckus, whatever it is. You just choose the brand of switch that you're going to use, and then you drop down and choose which switch model inside that brand that you are using. You then type in the IP address that you want the switch to be as an end result. Doesn't matter what the IP address of the switch is now, because remember, you haven't logged into the switch. You haven't touched it. You've done nothing to it. All you've done is open up AMP. So you tell AMP where you want the IP address of the switch to end up when the setup is complete. Okay? From there, you tell it how many encoders and how many decoders you have. In other words, how many sources do I have and how many displays do I have? And then you hit go, and it will, the software will give you a discovery configuration or config file, basically. And you download this to the desktop on your laptop or wherever it is you want on your laptop. And this is the only time that you log into the switch. You'll log into the switch interface and you touch nothing. You go straight to the point of the interface of the switch where you can upload a config file, and you take this file that was just created for you by the software and you upload that into the switch, and you are done. You get out of the switch. That's it. That's all you do. Then the software will tell you where to plug in every single device on the network. The last port on the switch will always be the uplink to the rest of the network, and then color-coded will be where you plug in the decoders and where you plug in the encoders based on how many you said that you had. All of those that are grayed out are still regular network ports. They are completely untouched, and you can plug any device into them on the network. Again, because we're running VLANs, not multicast, you have the ability to kind of split the switch up into different sections if you want to. Then you click the Discover button down at the very bottom there, and it will go and find all of the Just Add Power devices, and then color-coded will tell you in green or red whether everything is plugged in correctly or incorrectly. And obviously, if there's a red one on there, then it'll tell you, hey, this is a problem. You need to change this. Maybe a decoder is plugged into an encoder space or port or something like that. So you have the ability to correct that. And then again, if there's an update that's available for any of the devices, there's an update button that'll show up in the middle. You click that, it'll update all of them at the same time, and you're good to move forward. Once that's done,
how about expanding? I may get into this if they want to expand the system for more decoders.
Great question. So there's two ways to do that. One is I would always allow for expansion up front when you're setting this up originally. So if you only have two decoder or encoders, for example, I would actually put in the system 4 or 5 in case they ever add sources. Same thing for the displays. Instead of saying I've only got 4 or 5 displays, I would say, 8 or 10 or so. That way, when they do add that other TV, all you have to do is come in and plug the Just Add Power device in, update the software or the firmware on it if necessary, and you're up and running. So the other way to do it is you can go back into the software and reconfigure the switch. It'll give you a new config file that you upload to the switch, and you can do it that way too.
But try to plan for expansion on the front end is what you're recommending.
It just makes it easier and faster for you on the back end when that additional display or source is added. Yep. Great question. Thank you. Okay, it configures everything. This little lightning bolt type looking thing starts to spin a little bit and configures everything, and it comes back, and you'll notice one thing here. If you notice right here in the middle where it says IP address, all of these are regular 192.168 addresses because that's what the regular network was. But then when it comes back, you'll notice that all of them are on their own individual VLAN addresses because the software has assigned static IP addresses to every one of these units, and you haven't done a thing. All you did is say, here you go, and it works. Okay? You then configure the switch. Like I say, you upload that config file, and that's all you do. And then you're done. There is one more thing to do. You save the report file, and you click Finish. The report file gives you a list of everything that's in the system and everything that you've done so that you have that as a list. In the report file at the very top, there is one more thing that you have to do, and that is to add a static route into the router. And the reason why is because I'm on a 192.168 network, but all of my Just Add Power devices are on 172. something. And so there's got to be a way for those two networks to talk to each other. And that is what the static route does. Inside the router, it creates a bridge or a pathway for those two networks to be able to talk to each other. So you literally copy paste the destination IP, the net mask, and the gateway, and log into whatever router it is that you're using. This just happens to be a screenshot from a Luxo because that's what I had, but it can be any router. And you just put in and paste the IP address, the net mask, and the gateway that's in there, and you hit apply or save or whatever it is on that interface, and you're done. So you've literally logged into the switch one time and uploaded a config file, and you've logged into the router one time and set the static IP or static route, and that's it. Okay. You come back to the software again, and it'll say all set, and you're all done. That's it. So literally, without many clicks, you have set up an entire Just Add Power system with the configuration on all the devices and the switch. And like I said, all you've done is a couple of clicks. I don't know of anybody else that has a piece of software that does all of that for your video over IP system. Okay, lastly, we do have a 5-year warranty on everything. We can do an advanced replacement, and actually it can also be pre-programmed, especially if you have that config file and you tell us what it is. And let's say you have a problem on TV number 5. We already know what IP address and everything that device needs to be on, so we can pre-program it with the correct firmware and IP address so that you can send anyone in your company out, and it literally is unplug the old one, plug the new one back in, and it starts to work. So a great support team. They speak 3 different languages. They'll do long hours. They'll even do an appointment on Saturday if you need them to. So these guys are really, really good. They've been doing it for a long time. Great support team behind you should you need anything at any point, okay? So to kind of wrap this up, again, we don't try to do everything. We don't try to do all these different types of technologies. We just do one thing, and we do it pretty well. Unfortunately, we've been able to do it for more than 30 years and be fairly successful at it. So that's really kind of a brief overview, and hopefully that was helpful. Again, there is a ton more that the product can do, but we can get into that another time. So with that, Mark, any other questions or anything that anyone else would like to add?
No, I mean, you this is what I wanted. You pretty much covered the bases here, high level overview of the products. I mean, I guess, I would say for most applications, do you see Just Add Power going into majority commercial? I know with the Max Color, you can actually, you could put that in residential. I mean, the video quality for the
and the majority of the time Max Color does go into residential because it is high-end video. And one of the, we didn't really get into this, but one of the things unique about it is people look at it and go, oh, that's clearly a 10 gigabit solution. And actually it isn't. It's a 1 gig again, because what really matters is how are you compressing and how are you decompressing, and that codec makes a big difference. So yes, but to answer your question, the majority of the projects are commercial, not by design. That's just the way it's kind of naturally gravitated, because that's where you have several sources that need to go to a whole bunch of displays. But we have done an incredible amount of residential over the years as well. So I do see one question in the chat there that can we be called from the beginning for initial design support? Absolutely. That's what my team is here for. We'll help you design it. We'll help you sell it. We'll give you all the credit at the end. It doesn't matter. We just want to be able to assist you in whatever it is you need to be able to get the job done correctly. So yes, we absolutely can be involved in that, Chad.
So yes, if design questions, product questions, we're here to help. 21st Century and the great team at Global. So your next project, give us a shot. Let us put Just Add Power into your next it's commercial residential application. So really appreciate it, Jared. Thank you so much for being here with us. And we will see you all. I think our next one is in a couple of weeks. where we have Lunar Walls and Blue Stream. So we will see you all for a live stream at our Marietta location. So I hope everybody has a wonderful weekend, and we'll see everybody soon.